We're on Chapter 11 review in the textbook, starting with the self-test on page 706. So number one, we're just going to go ahead and expand and simplify with some simple distributing. The only way we get this wrong is if we don't take care of our powers correctly. So 3x will get distributed to everything. So I'm going to go ahead and put it over here. Now, because I want to put this in the correct order, I'm going to go ahead and actually distribute to the highest power first, so I don't have to rearrange later. But it's fine if you don't do that. So I'm going to go to here. That's going to be 3x to the fourth. Then I'm going to go to here. That's going to be negative 12x. X times x is squared. And then here, that's going to be positive 30x. And because I saw the greater powers to begin with, this is already in the correct order. If you didn't have it in this order, but you still had all the right numbers, that's fine. All right, we have 2b minus 5 squared. Remember, that's the same as 2b minus 5 times 2b minus 5. Now, this is one of those special cases when anytime something's squared, we can go ahead and use the little shortcut. So we're going to take the first part and square it. So that's 4b squared. We're going to multiply these two numbers and then double it. So we're going to get negative 10 and then double it. So we're going to get negative 20b. And then this squared, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. If you went through the full expansion, just like up here, you'd get this. You'd end up with a negative 10b, another negative 10b, which would combine to make this, and then a positive 25. So if you did it in one extra step, that is fine. All right, number 3, another special case. You can go ahead and fully expand this and get 4 terms and then combine. But if you notice, these look exactly the same, except one's positive and one's negative, plus and minus. So what ends up happening is you're going to have an 8 times a negative 3 and an 8 times a positive 3, and those will cancel. So your middle term here will disappear and be gone. It'll cancel itself out. And you're only going to be left with your first term, which is 64z squared, this times this. And then your last term, which is that times that, which is minus 9. Here, a basic expansion by distributing. Already in a good order, so let's just go ahead. Multiplying here, that is 6 times 2 is 12, a to the third, a times a squared, plus 9 times 6, 54, a times a squared, and then 6a times negative 1 is negative 6a. Number 5. So this is a special case and it's squared. So it's not a plus and a minus. So I will have a middle term. I could use the shortcut here if I wanted to. It also can get a little confusing when you have all these a's and this is a 1, but this is going to be your first term because you're going to be multiplying right here. So that's 25a to the fourth. I'm going to multiply 5a squared times negative a, and I'm also going to do it again, 5a times negative a. So that's going to end up doubling. You could kind of shorthand it down here. So it's going to be a negative 5 from the 5 times the negative. A squared and a is going to be a to the third. You're going to get the same thing when you do it right here. So this is going to double. It's going to be negative 10 a to the third. And then your last part is just the negative a times negative a, which is positive a squared. Number 6. There's nothing special about this one, so we can't use any of those little shortcuts. We just have to go ahead and expand it all the way. So 2 times 4 is 8. This is 6c. Then you also need to multiply here. Negative 24c. Negative 18c squared. These are going to go together. C squared should go up front, so it's going to be negative 18c squared. Put that together, that's positive 18c, and that's positive 8. All right, number 9. Skipping to number 9, we're going to factor this. All right, so first thing I need to do is look for a number that goes into 12, 24, and 30. When I first see 12 and 24, I think 12, but 12 is not going to go evenly into 30, and so 6 is going to be the number that comes out. Now, I see an x in all of them. I got to pull the most that I can out of all of them, but I can't go over the amount that one of them can handle. So x squared can be taken out of here, it can be taken out of here, and it can be taken out of here. That's the most that we can take out. I also see a y in all 3 terms. I can take 2 from all of them, and that's the most because I can only take 2 from right here. So we're going to have a squared there. And now we're just backwards distributing. So to get back to the 12, it would be 6 times 2. I'd have to multiply by a 1x to get back to my x to the third. And I wouldn't have a y term because I've already got the y to the second. So to get to 24, it'd be a negative 4. I wouldn't want an x because I've already got x squared, but I do need one y to get it to y to the third. And to get to 30, that's going to be a plus 5. I've already got x squared, so I don't need to add any more, but I do need 2 y's. All right, number 10. We're going to write this as a single polynomial. In this case, since we're just adding, these parentheses don't do anything. You could even write it without the parentheses, and that would be just fine. But this is showing you if you had this trinomial that represented something and you were adding it to this which represented something, how would you simplify it and write it as a single polynomial? So we're just going to go ahead and combine like terms. And as I look through this, this is the only one with a third power, so that's going to be up front. Second power, I've got a 20 and a minus 7, so that's going to be a positive 13n squared. This looks like my only n, so minus 8n. And I've got a minus 12 and a 5 with no variable, so those do need to be combined. That's negative 7. And I've got that. And number 11 is similar, but with a little bit of trickiness thrown in here. So we've got this p attached to parentheses. So first thing we need to do is distribute, and you need to make sure that when you do, you're counting this as a negative p. So all of this will come down. And now we need 3 more terms from this distributed. So this times this is going to be a negative coefficient. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. P to the first, p to the third, that's p to the fourth. Multiply here, it's a negative times a positive, so a negative p squared, p times p. And then here, a negative times a negative is a positive 2p. Now I can combine like terms. I've got a fourth and a fourth. So that's going to be 6p to the fourth. I've got a 2 squared and a squared, but one's positive, one's negative. Those will cancel each other out completely. 2p is the only one here with just a single p, and minus 5 is the only whole number. Final answer.